You should do a deep dive into Marika and Godfrey's separation and how it led to the Tarnished. That would be interesting. Yeah, you know, I think I can do that video. What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to another episode of Soulsborne Academy. Don't mind the hunter in the corner. They're just here for your protection. Today, we're going to be diving into Marika and Godfrey's separation and how it led to the Tarnished. Who was Godfrey before everything? Before Queen Marika? Before anything? Who was he? He was Horaloo. He was a chieftain warrior of the Badlands, and he had, after wedding Marika, he had Sarosh, which is, I believe, Arabic. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below, but it means angel. And in a sense, that lion was his angel, kind of suppressing his need for like a thirst and a hunger for battle. Now, after marrying Queen Marika, he fathered Margaret the Omen King, Godwyn the Golden, and Moog, Lord of Blood. After going into a war against the Giants, everything changed. Everything shifted. So there's actually a term, a well-known term called falling from grace. And to fall from grace is an idiom referring to a lost status, respect, or prestige. This is also, falling from grace also could mean in Christianity, a fall of man in Christianity, the transition of the very first man and woman from a state of innocence, obedience to God, to a state of guilty disobedience. Now, I read in lore and I've been reading in articles, why was he tarnished? Why did he fall from grace exactly? There was an article in Screen Rant that kind of summed it up to a degree. That it said that after defeating his greatest challenger in battle, Godfrey's warrior spirit left him along with his grace. The light surrounding his body and the energy imbued by the Erd Tree fled Godfrey's spirit, leaving him broken and insignificant compared to Queen Marika and the demigods. With a single victory, Godfrey sowed the seeds of his own destruction. The former Elden Lord lost his grace after completing his final war. Now, Queen Marika is very manipulative. She's one hell of a manipulative character, but when you understand her backstory and you understand how she was treated in the shaman village where she came from, and you see the DLC, really unravels a lot of her story and the way that she was treated. Oh, but it gets better though. It gets really a lot better, because after Godfrey's departure, Queen Marika took Radagon, her better half, as a spouse. And then both of them had Mikola Radan, Praetor Rykard, and Princess Rani as their demigod children. Technically, Rani is Renala and Radagon's child. It's not Marika's child, but she kind of claimed them as her own, I'm guessing. Now, here's the really like, whoa part, because she's manipulative and she takes a lot of like the power and she wants the power, and it's almost kind of like a drug for her that she needs to have it. She attempts to free herself from the greater will. Kind of like what Rani did. She wanted to be away from the greater will. She wanted to be away from the Finger's control. So Rani ended up killing herself in order to do so. Has her soul put into a doll. We know the story. So in order to free herself from the greater will, she shattered the Elden Ring, unintentionally basically damning the entire kingdom and her children. Great mom. The greater will was like, no. What? No, we didn't say you could do that. No, not at all. And they locked her and Radagon away in the Erd Tree. Now, with all of the information that we have, soak it in like you're going into a convenience store.
What is this place?
It's called a department store.
Because it says that Marika exiled Godfrey after he lost grace in Elden Ring, but then we also have things that are kind of alluding to the fact that, you know, that Godfrey's exile came about during, you know, what happened to Marika. It's very interesting because there's not that much lore to go off of whenever we see Marika and Godfrey, whenever it comes to lore and deriving meaning from that. That's why you guys are like probably thinking, oh, there's a lot of lore on this. There's lore, but it's not as plentiful as, say, Roddy's lore, for example, or you know, or Dee's lore, or Fia for that matter, because Fia and her lore and Ronnie's lore actually intersect. Their quest lines kind of intersect for a bit. And also there isn't much to give us on how characters lose their grace. Like there isn't much. I had to do a lot of digging to be able to find different articles and different pieces in order just to get a semblance of an idea of, well, how does one even lose their grace? How did Godfrey even begin to lose his grace? Godfrey was basically exiled for becoming human. Think about it. Like, it's possible. I mean, the thing is that tarnished, much like in Dark Souls, you have a root cause for the humanity, or the tarnishedness, if you will. We see throughout the game of Dark Souls, you have the Fruit of Pygmy. The Fruit of Pygmy was technically the first human, and there are many Fruit of Pygmies, you know, that we see in Dark Souls 1, we see Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2. You know, the same with the Tarnished. There is a root Tarnished, which is Godfrey, and that's where all the Tarnished, basically, in my view, that's where they all descend from. Tarnished are basically exiled from the lands between, and that's why there's a search for, you know, there's the quest to become Elden Lord, and it's to get away from that tarnished state to go to a higher plane of existence, a higher state of being and potential. But the story and the lore of both Queen Marika and Godfrey is sad. It's unfortunate. You know, Marika's thirst for power, but also her thirst for wanting to get away from the greater will kind of blinded her judgment and created the fallen person, if you will. In exiling Godfrey, she created a humanity that was kind of exiled to begin with, to a degree. And Godfrey was like, you know, I'm thinking, wow, okay, after all I've done. There was never kind of this equal balance of power. There was more or less Marika saying, no, I'm the powerful one. You're the fighter. You're going to do this for me. You're tarnished now? You fell from grace? You're of no use to me. You know, that's how I picture her mindset. Because when you look at the tarnished and you look at the humanity behind it, she came from a place of being in the shaman village, wanting to provide for the people in her village. And then she finally gets to a place where she can, and she kind of goes overboard, and she thinks, well, now I can control everything. I'm the powerful one. Not so, you know, not so much. But you guys, that was today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you guys got some good information of it. Oh my God, before researching this video, I found out so many new things that I never knew about Queen Marika. It made me sad for her, but it also made me like, oh, okay, this is why you turned out the way you did. But if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. May you find your worth in the waking world, dear hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.